And we're doing it. Oh,
We're back.
Hi.
That was a Maryism again, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Oh, are we doing it? Yeah, we're back.
Yeah, we're back. Sorry about earlier.
Yes, apologies about earlier. It was just a nightmare. So we have apologies to Michaela as well. We have are rescheduling her for in a few weeks' time. She'll be coming into the studio now. So yeah, we do prefer to do stuff in the studio.
Saves all that technical
Hello, Michaela.
hitches for
There
me.
you are. At least you're watching
Oh,
online.
Michaela's watching it now. Hello, Michaela.
Anyway, we have our second guest with us now, Linda Joyce, who's got a fascinating history. So I'm going to leave Linda to start to talk about herself. So please introduce yourself.
Where do I start?
I know.
Right, when I was born,
What do you do? What do you specialise in, Linda?
I specialise now in having taught all types of sculpture, and I mean with clay, not with stone and wood. I now love faces, and I specialise in portraiture. I teach portraiture, so I can teach students to immortalise all of the members of their family.
Wow.
Which I think is great, because rather than finding an old sepia photograph up in your nanny's loft,
Yeah, I've got a few of those.
yeah, if you actually got a 3D sculpture of great Uncle Freddie or something, it's great, because you've got and you can then pass it down through the generations.
Well, that's
So
like keeping your ancestors alive.
Exactly, yes.
It's a wonderful idea, actually.
Yeah.
So how long have you been sculpting for?
Since I was 15 or 16. I was still at school.
Yeah.
And what got you into that? What attracted you to it?
Well, I'd done the usual thing in the what they called it, pottery. So we did all the pinch pots and the coil pots.
Yeah.
I was sick to death of pots, so I started.
There's only so many pots you can have, isn't
I remember that, the wheel.
Yeah.
I was left-handed, so it all went backwards way for me.
Yeah.
Because it goes, which way does it go? That way?
Yeah.
I found it really hard. Very left-handed.
Yeah, it's great fun though.
It is great fun.
And do you find it's very therapeutic when you've got clay in your hands?
We use that in techniques of therapy as well, like art therapy.
Art therapy with clay
It's
is amazing.
really good 'cause it's sensory and stuff.
No, it's the soil, it's what we're all made of.
That's it.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
I did it with dementia,
Yeah.
things like that. So they really liked that whole tactile
Yes.
kind of thing.
Exactly. I mean, I've been teaching for over 40 years now, and my students always say, "Oh God, it's like a meditation when I come here." Everything goes. I always call it the equivalent to a man going fishing. Everything goes out of your head and just.
Yeah, it's like that, isn't it?
So you started when you were 15 or 16. So what was the progression? You always knew you wanted to be a sculptor?
Sorry, you asked me how I got started. So I got fed up with the pinch pots and I started flicking clay at my classmates.
I did that too.
Yeah. And I think I was on the border of getting expelled because I just wanted to do more with the clay. And then my dad bought me this wonderful little white poodle. And so I thought, instead of making a pot, I'm just going to make my poodle because I loved it so much. And my teacher nearly fell off her chair because it was so good. And I have to say, I surprised myself.
Right.
And that was when I knew I've got a gift here because nobody taught me. I just did it. And then my dad made a room for me in the shed in the back garden. So I turned that into a little studio. And of course, there was no online then. There was no World Wide Web. So I used to go down to the library and get all the books I could find, which weren't many, on that kind of thing. So it's really self-taught.
Wow.
Yeah. So that was it. That was the start of it all.
So you just started, so you went to school, you found you had this gift for sculpting. Did you go to college or did you just started?
I didn't go to college because I had my first child a couple of months after my 17th birthday.
Right.
So, I didn't know what was causing it. Because
You didn't know what was causing it?
I didn't know what was causing it.
Oh.
I mean, I was singing a pop group at the time, and the last thing I wanted to do was be a mother. But anyway, typical 60s chick, got pregnant, had to get married. That was me.
Yeah.
And so then I had a child every year because I just had to look at a bed and I got pregnant. And honestly, literally, I didn't want any children. I just wanted to be rich and famous.
Oh.
So I was very shallow then, but I like to think that I'm not that shallow now.
Okay.
So
what happened to the sculpting? Did that have to take a back seat while
I couldn't stop doing it. I was always doing it in the background, but then I had the children. We travelled all around the world. but I was always sculpting while the children were at school. They'd come home and I'd open the oven to see what was for dinner, and there would be clay in there.
Stable diet.
Yeah, exactly.
You'll never feel hungry again with clay in your mouth.
Yeah, so it was always like a really good hobby.
Yeah.
And then, of course, when the children grew up and left home, then I went into it seriously.
So did you sell pieces at that time when you were
Yes,
younger?
actually, I was. You know these little bronze resin sculptures you get in the gift shops? They were all the rage. They look like bronze, but they're actually resin.
Yeah.
And you get New Forest ponies and all these things. So I was working for a company that used to do those.
Oh, right.
So
Okay.
yeah, I made a living it that way.
Making quite a good living out of it, or?
Yeah, not bad. Except like every artist, I got screwed and didn't
Absolutely, yeah. That's
didn't
what
get,
happens.
didn't get royalties and all that stuff. But these things happen for a good reason, because you learn as you go along how not to do things.
Yeah.
So
Exactly.
yeah.
So I've seen some of your stuff so obviously the pictures you sent over. So you were saying about portraiture. So how did you get into? It seems like you've got connections with people like Amy Winehouse, Jimi Hendrix. I've seen sculptors, and also it says in your bio that you got the family approval. So did you approach them and say I could do stuff, or did they approach you? Or
Good question. By this time I really decided that I loved portraiture, and I wasn't getting enough commissions. Not enough people coming saying, can you sculpt my Aunt Gertrude or something. So I thought, well, why don't I just, I haven't got a thing for icons and legends and famous people. I don't put them on pedestals, but I thought, if I'm going to sculpt faces that I like, I might as well make them of people that are well known, because then I stand more chance of selling them.
Good approach.
Yeah, rather than sculpting Fred next door because he's
That's
got
it.
an interesting face. So that's how I got into the icons and legends thing. And also, so then I chose Amy's face because it was fantastic, and same with the others. And I was sculpting. I used to run the art exhibition at the BIC.
oh, okay.
And we had over 100 exhibits there, paintings and sculptures. So I thought, wouldn't it be nice if we actually had artists working at the exhibition rather than just seeing loads of paintings and sculptures? Actually have the artists there working on their art. So that's what we used to do at the BIC. And so I turned up with this lump of clay which looked hideous, looked like some kind of monstrosity. Never sculpted in public before. It terrified the life out of me. But anyway,
It's a
I did
different
it.
thing, isn't it, when you do it in front of
God,
people?
Yeah.
Yes, because paintings.
People are watching you, aren't they?
Yeah, but paintings and sculptures go through some hideous processes.
Yes, I know.
Before
Sometimes a lot of it is just staring at it, isn't it? It's like,
I know.
I'm going to start somewhere.
Yes.
I don't know where, but I am.
I know, and that's not so bad when you're doing it on your own, but when you've got people watching you, it's a bit
It's
scary.
like,
Yeah.
I can imagine.
Yeah. Anyway, I forced myself, and people took some photographs of me working on sculpture at the exhibition. Somehow, what's his name? Amy Winehouse's father, Mitch Winehouse saw it somehow, and he just rang me up out of the blue. I was just sitting there answering my phone, nearly fell off the chair. He said, Mitch Winehouse. I thought it was a joke. And he said, I've seen your sculpture of Amy, and we were interested in working with you. So when I'd finished it, I sent it up to him, and he said it was coming up to the time when it was the anniversary, I think, of her first death or something.
Yeah.
And anyway, he was so busy he couldn't come down, so he sent Janice, his wife, down.
Yeah.
So she unveiled it at the exhibition. Sorry, it's actually at the Russell Coates.
Is it at that
It was
now?
at the Russell Coates, and then when it was turned into a bronze, she came down again and unveiled it at the BIC. So it was unveiled twice. Yeah. So that was the start.
I mean, it's a lovely sculpture of her, isn't it? If you ever see it, if you can have a look online.
It's online on the website, so take a look at it if you want to. So it's really interesting.
It's really lovely.
Yeah, I've got a Facebook page called Icons and Legends, so they'll see it on there as well.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, that'd be
That's on the links as well. We've got that on the link as well.
I'll check that.
Short videos of the process and stuff like that, and the bronzing process.
Do they have a copy of it? Do they have a sculpture of your sculpture at their home? Or just
No. Strangely enough, no. That's a very good question. They weren't at all interested in that at all.
Okay.
No.
They just liked it.
Yeah, that's
So
right.
it's just the one you produced of Amy, the one piece.
Well, they're all limited edition of 12.
Right.
And so what happens is you make the original, so then there's a plaster, a rubber mould made, then a plaster cast goes over that. So then they can from that produce as many as they want. But I do limited editions of 12. So if somebody rang me up and said, "Can I have an Amy Winehouse?" I just ring the foundry and they produce another one.
Okay. Oh, that's good.
Yeah. So the moulds are stored there at the foundry.
Okay. You've got a workshop as well, haven't you? You do workshops down there, don't you? Where is it? Whereabouts
Well,
is
I
it?
did have, but unfortunately with COVID I had to close it down because I used to teach there 3 times a week. But then when COVID struck, I had no students. Then I thought, I don't want to keep paying for rent for a studio that's not being used, so closed it down. But it's sort of good in a way because now I teach one-to-one privately rather than classes. And I teach people in their own homes. Because literally,
really
I mean,
good.
you know where we're sitting now, this tiny little table, this is all the space you need. Yeah. And I can teach somebody in their own homes. And the great thing about that is that the sculpture's there in their own home. So I can say, look, let me show you how to do this ear. And they'll watch me. And then I can say, before I come back for the next session, you can do the other ear. And don't worry if you've messed it up, because we can just do it again. You know, so
That's really good.
Yeah, it's different, isn't it? Because when you think of pottery, well, like using clay, you always think of pottery, but with sculpting, it's completely different. And I was just thinking actually, because you said you taught portraiture, how much knowledge of the anatomy do you need with the bone and muscle structure?
it depends how if I wanted to go and work for the Waxwork Museum, then I'd probably have to have a lot more. And of course I did learn all that, but when you're not teaching it all the time, you forget it. So basically, I mean, as long as you have a knowledge of the main bones in the head and the face and the tendons and muscles underneath, then that's all you need.
Really? That's interesting.
But you know, if I got a student who was really advanced and wanted to go deeper into it, then we could. But most people that are beginners, which is most of my students, they're happy if they just get a vague like this. You know?
Exactly, yeah.
So,
I mean, it's an achievement if you haven't ever done it before. It's like,
It
doesn't
is.
look like my Auntie Jo.
It's
or
really
whatever.
difficult. I mean, it's difficult enough producing a portrait on canvas, a flat canvas, but to have it in 3D.
Yeah, I know.
And being able to see it from all angles.
You started doing, what's her name? Mary,
Wollstonecraft.
Wollstonecraft, Can never say Frankenstein.
So Mary
Shelley.
Wollstonecraft was the mother of Mary Shelley.
Ah.
So I did start doing Mary Wollstonecraft, but I had an accent with it. I will do her again at one stage. But yes, I just finished December the Mary Shelley sculpture, which is at the foundry now being turned into a bronze. But we're actually doing a fundraising to raise money so that we can pay the foundry to make it into a bronze. So what we're doing is we're saying that if people pay £100 or more, they can have their name engraved on the plinth and be immortalised along with the actual sculpture, because it will go somewhere in Bournemouth.
Oh, right.
We're not sure where yet, but it will eventually be in Bournemouth.
And it's just the head, not the whole thing.
It's just the head, yeah. That also is on the Icons and Legends page if they want to see it.
I haven't seen this page. I didn't see the link for it.
There is a link on there.
Yeah.
Never mind, doesn't matter.
I will check it out later.
There's definitely a link.
Sorry.
So for that one, I just did one arm. She had those big voluminous sleeves, and she's got a quill in this hand, and she's just
cool.
I didn't do this arm. I just the one arm in her face. Yeah. So she's looking, and you sort of like, what can I write next? So,
That's really cool.
Yeah.
I wonder where that's going to go. Do you know where it's going to be?
Well, we're hoping to have a heritage centre set up somewhere in Bournemouth. It's
That would be good.
It's in the process, and so it'll go there wherever that is.
Yeah, because I mean, there's not much in Bournemouth in terms of you've got the Russell Coates, haven't you? And obviously there's Giant, which is a new gallery, but nothing really. Or maybe I've missed something. There's a science museum or something, but there's nothing.
Yeah, there is. I've been there.
But there's nothing really like you say, heritage and
Yes, and it is a shame because there is a lot here,
Yeah.
and of course we all know that we presume that Bournemouth wants to appeal to tourism.
Yeah, that's that.
So they should be promoting this stuff really.
They shouldn't they? And because we had the guests on.
Back to BCP Council again.
That's
aren't we?
BCP Council. Yeah, we did that on Sunday.
Let's not do that.
No.
Go there.
But it's like on the Sunday we were talking to Rob and everything we were talking about. He was explaining the what do you call the
Barrow
humps?
Downs.
Barrow Downs.
Yeah,
and all the history
the
and
9
stuff.
barrows on the
And there's a
coastline.
lot of history in Dorset. You just don't realise it.
No. And of course, a lot of the Shelley family are buried in Bournemouth.
That's right.
Well, you've got the tomb, haven't you?
Yeah,
Is
that's
it
right.
St Peter's, isn't
Yeah.
it? The church.
Yeah,
there?
St. Peter's,
It's a nice little church, actually.
Yeah. And do you know what? The following for the Shelley family is huge in America and around the world, more so than here.
They're doing something more about this because I mean it's quite.
It's happening.
Is it?
It's Catherine Edgar is the one who's really fighting for it, and she's the one that commissioned me to sculpt the Shelley family.
And Catherine Edgar is...
She's the founder of the Shelley Trust.
Okay.
And so she wants me to eventually do the whole of the Shelley family.
Oh, that would be amazing, wouldn't it?
Yeah, so I started.
They could do a whole thing here, couldn't they? Exhibition and interactive.
I mean, how can we like celebrate Mary Shelley, the Frankenstein, even that in itself, the story.
Yeah.
You know.
I know. There's so much.
Do you know what I mean? There's so much they can do.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's funny because you've got the Shelley pub opposite St Peter's Church with all the images of Frankenstein all around it, and it's really strange how it's all come about.
Yeah. I think that'd be amazing. I can't wait for them to start because didn't a Shelley Trust have an art studio? Do you remember years ago? I'm pretty sure they had an art college. Is that right?
Yes. Now which is the road?
The Shelley Trust had an art college. What, in Bournemouth?
Well, they actually donated a whole building which had a theatre and art studios. The council pulled it all down and built flats, of course. But Catherine, who lives next door to the building that the Shelley family gave to the residents of Boscombe. Yeah. Anyway, she managed to save the main schoolhouse, and it's now got a blue plaque saying that this is a heritage site, so it's protected. But she had to really fight. I mean, we had people laying under the bulldozers and everything.
I mean, that's so sad, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, that's something that, shouldn't have been done at all.
It would be better really to have a permanent exhibition of this rather than another crazy golf course, for example. Really, wouldn't it? I think it would be more interesting.
And they've got the Shelley Theatre that has a lot of things. They do a lot of shows there now. There's a little Shelley Theatre which is next door.
But I think since COVID, then they haven't
reopened?
Done it.
They know. I mean, it was running, like you say. There had some lovely things going on there, but now I don't know what's happening, and there doesn't seem to be anything going on.
Oh, that's such a shame. How did COVID obviously affect you? Obviously, quite a lot. I mean,
it's affected me really well actually because it's ever so strange because I thought I'm very busy always preparing my classes and things for my students and working on their stuff. And I thought, well, this is now the time for me. I can sculpt whatever I like. All those things I've wanted to sculpt just for me.
Yeah.
I couldn't be bothered. I had no passion for it whatsoever. But what happened was I went deep into all the spiritual stuff. Okay. And so that 2 years, and even still now, I'm doing lots of research on ancient civilizations, extraterrestrials, and
there could be some good sculpture work going on there.
well, actually, it's strange because I actually want to start sculpting extraterrestrials.
Yeah.
Because I mean, we all have eyes, nose, and mouth, and we're all sort of similar in a way, whereas they are so diverse. So it would be really challenging.
I used to dream of aliens.
You used to dream of aliens?
Did you?
Really?
Yeah, there's a story.
Oh, well,
But anyway, not saying anything. But anyway, it's a bit mad, everyone. But anyway, I have practiced meditation.
Yes, I know.
And I went into this meditation and I called for people to come in and it was an alien.
Wow,
I can vividly see what it looked like. Very nice.
Will you?
Had a great old chat on the chair.
That's fantastic. And have you done it again since?
I this. I hope you're not thinking I'm a bit crazy, but you know I am a bit of Maryism. But no. So this alien came quite a few times. Came to me quite a lot. I haven't had it. Done it. Had it. It's not. The alien's gone now. So it could be a metaphor for something, or it was very tall, dark, and it had the, like, quite beautiful in a way, but it was kind of tall, it was black, and it was really lovely.
Well, if you could sketch it for me sometime, then I'll make a sculpture.
Okay.
That sounds interesting.
That
would be amazing.
That's what I'm trying to do at the
Are
moment.
you?
Yeah,
okay,
because-
I can still visualise what this alien looked like.
Yeah, it's possibly a starseed, a relative of yours, because we've all come from the stars, different planets, and we were seeded here. Well, everything that we've been told about our history is rubbish.
Oh.
Yeah.
Wow, that's interesting.
You look back at ancient civilizations a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm fascinated by that as well.
Yeah.
I tell you what, I had a really interesting experience with a sculptor. You're going to laugh at this. It was in Vienna. I can't remember what the name of it is. It's a very famous sculpture, but it's tiny and it's of it's really, really old, thousands of years old, and it's just of a woman. Their depiction of a woman, and it's about that big,
Really?
like that. But it's Mother Earth, and I tell you what, she's like got huge breasts, large stomach, and she's just suspended, and you just see her, and I almost cried when I saw her. The energy, and this thing is like thousands of years old. I can't remember which age it came from, but the energy around it was amazing. She was just woman. You know, she was woman. She embodied woman.
Yeah.
And she was so beautiful.
Yeah. Well, the energy of Gaia, which is Mother Earth, is female. And I don't know if you're aware that Gaia, this is the first time in this part of the universe that it's happened. This is the first time that a planet, Mother Earth, has gone from 3D to 5D, and we're in the process of moving from the 3rd density to the 5th density. And this is why we have all this awakening. And at the moment we're being bombarded with tachyon energy from the central sun, from the 5th dimension, which is actually turning our bodies from carbon based to crystalline. So we're all being upgraded.
Wow.
You think Facebook would work really, wouldn't you, after all that?
I'm completely like that. Where did that come from?
Well, it was obviously meant to be, as it wouldn't have happened.
Yeah, I know, how strange. Yeah. But yeah, you should. Oh, this is quite interesting. I'm so going to put you. I'm going to draw my alien now.
Yeah. Well,
That
you
would be
had one of your
lovely.
paintings. Are you sure one of your paintings isn't this alien? Because I remember one of your paintings you were talking about a few weeks ago, and that was tall and black and thin. You said it was your warrior woman or something.
Yeah, the warrior woman.
But you sure that's not some influence from this alien
I
thing?
don't know, actually. It could have been.
Because
she's-
she was very black and rubberesque and tall and
I've
skinny.
got this paint I'll have to show you, Linda.
Yeah, oh, I'd love to see it. Yeah,
She's appeared quite a few times. Actually, that's funny you've connected that.
yeah. This is the direction I sort of want to take my portraiture now.
Yeah.
I'm teaching people to sculpt their relatives.
Yeah.
Not everybody wants to sculpt extraterrestrials like I do, but but that's sort of the direction that personally I'm going to go in, because it's so much more challenging. But the only problem I got is that when I meditate, I can't channel what they look like. So now I'm in the process of finding people that do channel. But there are people that actually have like they say, I'm from Arcturian, I'm an Arcturian, and I come from this star system.
I think I could put you in touch with somebody who does that. Actually.
That would be wonderful, because anyone who actually can see what they look like and they do a sketch. All I need is a sketch, and then I can sculpt.
So these I know people that you're talking about, they know who they are as in terms of alien form. Because
we're going from we've got extraterrestrials from all over the universe, the galaxy, the cosmos, coming from all over to witness what's happening on Mother Earth at the moment. And so they're taking an interest, because if we ended up blowing ourselves up with nuclear weapons, it affects the whole cosmos. It has a ripple effect, like when you drop a pebble into a pond. So they don't want that to happen, so they're here. So they are contacting people that have got these gifts, and they are able to channel messages from the extraterrestrials, and images, and they tell them what star system they've come from. But they also tell you which star system you've come from, because we've all been seeded here from different star systems.
You need to talk to Leo because he's into all this stuff as well. He's upstairs and he's probably listening online. Come down, Leo, come down.
This will be your latest thing. This is your latest project, working with people that have.
Yeah.
So if anybody out there wants to.
Yes, anybody knows anybody that channels extraterrestrials, then I'm very interested.
Okay.
I'm not somebody that, just sort of imagines it in their head, but can actually channel what they really look like. It would be really, I'd be really interested.
Wow.
So, you've heard it here, so spread the word.
Heard it first.
We're on a mission to find somebody who can channel, so help Linda. So.
Yeah, that would be nice. Yeah,
Wow.
so then we could have a big exhibition.
Yeah,
That would be lovely.
Yeah.
Or
I mean,
a
maybe
small
you
exhibition.
could teach ancestry, alien, or whatever, ancestry, doing your own face or whatever, alien.
Yeah,
Make your own alien.
You actually don't know what you would be channeling if you were doing that, because, for instance, when a student I've just come from now, she sculpted her deceased husband and her deceased mother, and she definitely got help while she was sculpting them. Really, honestly, she does. And I don't know if it's the clay or what it is, but tarot readers, their cards are only an instrument. They're really channeling the information.
That's interesting, you saying that the lady, when she did her mother and father, in some way, I suppose it's quite therapeutic for her, and it's almost like a letting go and a release, like she's, taking care of them almost.
Yeah, that's right.
That tactile thing, and then it's almost nurturing your family or your mother and father or whoever you do, your family member.
Yeah, so if you go onto my Facebook page, I've got another one which is Sculpture Linda Joyce Studio. You'll see all my students' work on that one, and you'll see all those. Yeah, so it's.
I can imagine it's quite emotional as well when they're
It
doing
is.
it.
Sometimes there's tears, yes.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because sometimes when you get to that point where you've done the eyes, they're looking back at you. Oh, it's it's
the
quite
eyes
emotional.
that would really do that, wouldn't it? It would be like that whole projection, like you're putting your soul, their soul back in, or your soul's in there, or whatever. It's bringing them alive again, isn't it?
Yeah.
Is there any period of history that actually that appeals to you, that inspires you for your work? Or?
No, because I'm more for the future. Because planet Earth has been under control by the dark forces since the beginning of time, and we've gone through the dark ages, and we've gone through horrific stuff. But that's all in the past now. Because in the future, we are going to be going to live in this most amazing world, which we're actually starting to create now.
I'm glad to hear that. It needs to get better.
Yeah,
but if you keep our thoughts positive and you try and imagine the kind of world that you'd like to live in, if we all did that, then the vibrations raise, and then we'll go. The whole process will be quicker.
I suppose there's a lot of things right at the moment now that they're sort of trying to get people to live in the now rather than live in the past, because you can't change the past.
No, but you can learn from the past.
But you learn from it, and then you
hopefully learn from the past.
Yeah, this is exactly. But I see the past as quite dark, and we've all lived thousands of lifetimes. Not all of us on Earth. We may have lived on other planets, but some of us have always lived on planet Earth, and we've come back hundreds, if not thousands of times. Yeah,
strange. Makes the mind go.
I don't know.
It's
There's a whole world out there.
It's like watching one of the science programs when they start talking about the galaxy and how big it is. It's like, whoa.
I mean, I'm a bit of a fan of Star Trek, I'm afraid.
Oh, suddenly.
Well, that was all channeled.
I love Star Trek.
So that's
we need to say it at the same time.
Yeah, see, that stuff exists.
Flipping love it.
Yeah.
I'm watching the new Picard series. Oh, that's really worth it.
Yeah.
I love it.
But growing up with, Captain Kirk and everything, the original series.
I went on the actual 1970s set.
Did you?
You did you?
Yeah, I did. They had an exhibition in Melbourne when I lived over there.
No.
And it was an actual Star Trek convention. I didn't dress up as anybody from Star Trek, by the way. Just to let you know.
Oh, why not?
Well, I wasn't in the mood then. But anyway, we went in and they had the original 70s set. The Starship Enterprise where he sat, Captain James C. Kirk, and you could go on it. And you could you saw the hand cut out, they'd flip up the phones. I mean, they were well beyond their time, this series, wasn't it?
Actually.
It's all basically, I was a bit disappointed because it's all hand cut out, little cut out cards, and it wasn't actually a phone at all, but even though they made it look like a phone.
Yeah.
And they had all the costumes and the faces, and it was blooming amazing. I actually went on that set. I was like that. Beam me up, Scotty.
I would love that.
Oh.
Now, now you've told me that, I know that there's definitely a connection with, you're definitely connected. So, all the sci-fi stuff, if you, with the knowledge that I've got now from all the studying, if you go back and look at the sci-fi movies, you can actually see that a lot of it's true.
Well, it does seem like from the past. I mean, with the Star Trek, we all thought. I mean, I actually thought when I saw that as a child, I thought that was going to be my life, and by the time I was 30, we were all going to be all that.
Jetsons.
But when you think about, like Linda just said, with the communicators, all that's come true, hasn't it?
I know.
And have you heard about the med beds?
Pardon?
The med beds.
No.
Med beds.
Those see-through chambers that they put them in when they weren't well.
Yeah.
They actually exist. That technology is being kept from us for many, many years. But that's when we're going from the third dimension into the fifth dimension. All that technology, all the good technology, will be available to us again.
Okay. I'm sure there are things that are out there that that are, as you say, not out, but they are out.
Yeah, probably.
It'd be interesting, wouldn't it? So how did you get? I know we talked about you were creative, but how did you get into this sort of knowledge of the aliens and stuff?
I always felt that I couldn't put the two things together with how advanced Egypt was, and there was even a race of people before them. There's the Lemurians and the Atlanteans. How advanced they were, at that stage in time when we were still sort of scrabbling around in caves and things. And then with the cave drawings, which always looked like they had some kind of, space helmet on or a spaceship. And so I always knew that from when I was young. But then, of course, with the children and families, and that sort of goes onto the back burner. And then, of course, when COVID happened, and I got back into it again.
Sort of looked at that and went back into it.
And I studied it more deeply then, but from lots of different angles: historian, geology, science, metaphysics, all of that. And then, of course, the people that channel messages.
Yeah.
And when you have scientists and geologists saying, what you've learned from your education is not true, this is actually what's true, and then channelers that are all around the world are saying things that are exactly the same as these geologists and the scientists, you think, well, I know they're not in touch, so there's got to be some truth here.
Yeah, no, it's interesting, isn't it? And Leah's fascinated by this.
I mean, I'm fascinated with it. I remember when I was young, I know Egyptian history was really I just loved it.
Well, it's remarkable,
It's not surprising.
Isn't it? The engineering.
It's not surprising because, with the aliens, this experience that you've had and that your love of sci-fi, you're definitely a star seeker.
I'm a geek.
I think we ought to have a Star Trek convention here. That
would be amazing. Wouldn't it be amazing to have something like that here?
Yeah. Well, they're having the Elvis Presley International Tribute Competition or something here.
Oh, are they?
Yeah, the big one. I mean, the really big one. The one that would have the competition with all the big Elvis Presleys.
It would be great to get an Elvis impersonator on, wouldn't it?
It would. But yeah, maybe we should do a Star Trek convention. What do you think? Let us know.
What do you think? Yes, I think that's a great idea. I've been loving that.
Why not?
Yeah,
well,
exactly.
If we ever get this exhibition together of ETs, then people could come in their sci-fi outfits, can't they?
Exactly.
That would be a lot of fun, wouldn't it?
Yeah, exactly.
That would beat the Rocky Horror Show, I'm afraid. Mary.
Yeah, no.
It definitely beats that.
I love the Rocky Horror. It's brilliant.
Yeah.
I do love that.
Yeah, I know, but Star Trek.
Yeah, Star Trek. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's totally different.
And whoever comes in the best costume gets a free sculpture.
Yeah, of themselves.
Yeah.
How lovely.
Anyway, we better bring this to an end because Ross is going to be around somewhere. We've got to find him.
We think he's here.
Who's Ross?
Our next guest.
Oh, next guest. You're quite welcome to sit in.
I'm very welcome to see him, but we've got to find him.
Yeah.
No, I've got to go. I'm meeting a friend.
Oh,
It's
it's
been
lovely
lovely
chatting
having
to
you.
you, Linda.
Yeah, and you too. It's been lovely.
It's been lovely.
You were obviously meant to ring me.
Yeah.
We were meant to get in touch.
Yeah.
This was meant to happen. Because even though I was sitting in my front room, he still managed to do it.
We had such a technical hitch this morning, Michaela. Sorry about that.
Apologies again.
Yeah, so I'm really sorry.
Anyway, it was lovely to meet you.
And you,
Okay.
it was great.
And we'll be back, hopefully if we can find Ross, we'll be back in a few minutes.
Is it? Yes.
So we'll see you soon.
See ya.
Bye.
Oh, that was